in this video I'll be showing you how you can make an inexpensive full-size static display model of BB-8. I'll be using very easy to get hold of materials and really simple techniques, made even more simple by the fact that in the description of this video you'll find a link to the custom templates I've made. This is episode 1 of a 3-part series where we focus on making the body of the droid. But templates, there's 2 types of templates. One is this weird shape here. Okay, and that be on 2 bits of A4. You've got to cut the bits out and stick them together. Make sure it's as precise as you can get it, otherwise you're going to screw up the whole thing. And then the second one is like this. And these are in pairs. This is part 6. Now, as you're going to be cutting out the details, you need to make sure you go over the whole of the seam. Now, I don't want to cover up the lines with my black tape, so I'm going to do it from the other side. If only they invented clear tape. I'm going to have to flip my thing over, but whatever. Now, we're not going to use this to cut out the actual circular pieces, because this is far from a perfect circle. So we're going to use this to mark out the details. So what we're going to need to do is cut around this outline here on this it's grey on mine, it's the orange part on the actual BB-8 droid. Just going to go around this here, keeping these little sticky-inny things. Easy to do this with a knife. There's one more thing left to do, and that is to cut out of these as well, because we're going to want to lay this over the top of some foam, draw around it, and then draw these details in as well. So you just need to take your knife and cut those out. And here's one I made earlier. Just like that. So those parts, those grey parts, have been cut out, leaving me with this. So we're now going to put this to one side, and we're going to get some foam out. This is the foam I use. It comes in packs of 6 mats. And these are £10 from Halfords, or £9 if you've got a trade card, which I have. And this is what they look like out the pack. Take these edge strips off, and they are virtually useless, and I've got like a bazillion of them just kicking around. It's textured on one side, we don't use that side, we use the flat side. Hence that 10mm thick, so it's perfect for what we want it for, it's nice and rigid. And we need some circles first of all. So we've got this here, which is a cake drum that I've borrowed from my wife. This is a 12-inch circle. You can of course use a compass or whatever, but this is the perfect size. And one thing worth noting is this is also a 12-inch circle with bits missing from it. Okay, it doesn't line up with this because this is going to be curved, but this is, it's worth noting that this is the same size as this, so all the circle things are exactly the same size more or less. With regards to these templates, when you print them, these come up slightly smaller than the 12-inch, and these parts here, these edge pieces on mine are all exactly 7 centimeters. Okay, so if you need to scale yours for your printer, then you're going to be wanting to make these 7 centimeters. So make sure that when you scale this, say this was too short on your printer, you print it out, it comes up at 6 centimeters or whatever, figure out as a percentage how much you need to scale that up by. Make sure you scale up everything by that percentage so they all match up, because if you make these bigger than these, then it won't work. Anywho, let's draw around this. Now, I don't like using a pen to draw around templates on foam, because I find that even though you paint over it, the ink sometimes, especially if it's a Sharpie, shows through. So I use the back of a knife and score it in. So let's cut these out. We're going to start off with this big circle piece, and you want to make sure you keep your knife as straight as you can. You don't want to bevel the edge. Push down really firmly so you can do it in one pass rather than multiple goes and then a little jagged edge. There's that one. Same thing for these. So we've got 8 of these, but we don't need those for now. We'll put those to one side. And you should have 6 of these. Now comes the fun part of adding all the details on, because it's a lot easier to do it while they're flat as opposed to doing it afterwards when it's, you know, a ball. So first thing you want to do is get your outer piece and position that so it's as centered as you can get it. And then just going to pin that into place just so it doesn't move. And then you take this piece, and remember you marked which bit goes where, so you know where to line that up. And take the pins off of the outer ring and put that to one side. You need that again in a minute. And just before, using the back of your knife, you're going to trace around this whole thing inside and out. Start with the outer edge. Right, and then before you unpin that, you need to put the detail around this piece now. So you need to take your outer ring and line it up with the marking that you put on it earlier. And then I start off with these lines here. So I'm just going to put a little line there, there, and then just one there. Just come off. That's that line. We've also got to join these up. The line across here. That's almost all the details. The bits that you've cut out may have had details on them. And if I take a look at this one that I didn't cut out, you can see that they did indeed have details on them. So when you cut these out, you can keep them if you like, and then cut those little details out of those bits and then lay them on and draw them on. Oh, right, that's definitely all the details now, with the exception of the little circly things that go in there, but we'll get to those in a minute, because that comes under the next step, which is cutting all those details in. Your knife needs to be super duper sharp for this, so I'm going to sharpen that. And then you're going to want to cut no more than 1/3 of the way into the foam. You need to practice this on some scrap bits if you've never done this before, because if you go too deep, then you're essentially just going to cut all the way through. You don't want to do that. So you need to press down just enough to get about 1/3 of the way in. Right, the circle details. Now you can take a circle thing and stick it there and draw around it like we did with this one, but chances are you might not get quite a perfect circle, especially if they're quite small, and that takes ages. So what you can use is one of these. It doesn't have to specifically be a curtain pole. It can be, you know, a tubular piece of metal, the right diameter, that you cut a convenient little piece off. I'm not going to go sawing up a decent curtain pole, so you're just going to stick that where it needs to go, which is about there, and then give it a bit of a twist, and that will saw its way into the foam. And again, you don't want to go all the way in, just enough, just like that. And we'll do the same for the next one. Part of a pen here, I've just taken apart. Before I use that, I'm going to take a file and just rough that up to make it a better cutting tool. So I'm going to use that to do a similar thing. Pop that in the middle, give it a bit of a twist. Magic. Put that back on there. Look at that. It's like some sort of James Bond gadget or something. Done. So that's all them done, and now ready to assemble. Oh wait a minute, no they're not. They're a little bit flat. We need to fix that. So that's the next step. You need to get your heat gun out. There we go. Now that's nice and heated. We're going to take that, pop that over our colander, and push that in. I'm just going to push that all the way in, let that cool down for a little while. That should do it. We'll take it out, flatten it, flatten it, flatten it, and that's about right. If it's not perfect, don't worry, because we'll be doing some fine tuning on the curvature of the whole thing later. So now that's done, that's probably, that's all. That's probably about 2 inches tall, a little over 2 inches tall. No, probably about bang on 2 inches tall now with that curve here. And that's, like I say, it's not going to be spot on, but that's a good place to start. So we're going to do the exact same thing now with this piece. So we're going to heat that up. And then press that into your colander. This one's a bit harder to hold into shape because you're going to want to press the middle down and push these edges out as well so they get some curve to them. This is the kind of job we need like 6 pairs of hands. You want that to be similar sort of profile to those round ones we've made. Right, time to do some gluing. So we've got all of these all curved, all of these too, and these can be put to one side. And these are what we're going to stick first, and we're going to use the glue gun and some tape just to hold that together while the glue's setting. Glue. Tape. What we're going to do is we're going to do the same thing with the rest of these, so we've got 4 of these things. Right, so you've got your 4 quarters now, we've got to stick those together. That's half. Join these 2 together to get another one of these. 2 halves now need to become 1. There you go, it's the basic shape. What we need to do now is take these and stick 4 on, 4 around one axis like that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to glue underneath each of these bits of tape I've got here, just to anchor it in at 4 points, and then I go ahead and fill in the missing bits afterwards. Right, that's just 4 corner points done. Now I'm going to start going around here. Before I do that, you'll notice there's a big gap. So I'm going to heat that gently from the inside of each one before I stick it down on any that's not going to join up. Well, I just heated both the disc and the weird triangle shaped thing. And I'm just going to put a piece of tape or 2 on there just to hold that into shape, and then do exactly the same thing for the other ones. And now you can see that joins up a lot better than it did. So just going to take our glue gun, push that up from the inside, and put some glue along there, and then close it back up and tape it down. It really is that simple. And there's one of them on. I'm going to add on this side, and this side, leaving these 2 open before we start sorting any of that out. So I'm going to do exactly the same thing as I did for this, making sure to get every single bit of the seam covered. That's very important for later on. Make sure you cover every bit of seam, and then go back and cover these little bits you may have missed out as well. So I've stuck all 4 of the sides on. The 5th side I've only taped down, because if I stick it down permanently I can't then heat form the 6th side. So I'm going to put a bit of tape on this just to mark which way round it goes, so I don't get it the wrong way, as it lines up perfectly in this orientation only, I'd imagine, as it's not a perfect sphere. Just going to cut that, so leave a bit of tape on both the panel and the ball. And I'm going to peel the tape off now. Right, so now that's off, line that bit of tape back up, and then that'll go back in there and fit nice and snug, so we don't need to heat form it to glue it back down. So that'll make it a lot easier, because we're going to stick that one on after we've done the bottom piece. We're going to be able to reach inside to do that. So we're going to now put this to one side, and then we're going to go back to the same method we used for these ones and stick that final one on. And of course we can do this the normal way, because we can still reach inside to stick it into place. So I'm going to get gluing, and then we'll have this 5th side on. Okay, so those 5 sides are all stuck on, and we've got that 6th one that lines up pretty well because we heat formed that earlier, but we can stick that to one side for now. And what we're going to now do is work on making this a little bit more spherical, because it's got a lot of flat spots. As you can see, it shouldn't be able to, pretty much sit up like that. And that's because that colander that we formed all of these in had that flat bottom to it, so these weren't going to be perfectly curved to begin with, but they're a good place to start. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our heat gun and we're going to heat this from the inside only because we don't want to burn the outside, and we're going to start pushing and pulling from the inside and the outside to try and get this more uniformly round. Now I've deliberately left all of this tape on and made sure every single part of all the seams are still taped up, just in case the heat softens the glue enough for them to start separating, which you wouldn't want. It would be a disaster. I'm going to do all this hard work, so you've got to be aware of that. So I'm going to heat this on the high setting, just making sure I don't hold it over the same spot for too long because I want to burn the foam. And I'm going to start probably on this one here. This one's quite, goes out and then angles down, so I'm going to try working on this one. Pushing the centre of this out to try and get rid of that flat spot first of all. Now when I heated this on the inside, I was careful not to go too close to this edge here, because obviously we want that to still line up with our other piece as best we can. Okay, so that's now more curved. See, it won't sit on that now, whereas it does sit on this one. The one we've done, I don't know which one that was. This one here. It's curved now, so it won't sit flat on it. So we've fixed that bit. This bit here is still a bit misshapen, so I'm going to heat this from the inside again and push inwards on this now, I think. Right, and that's that heated and shaped a bit better now. So I'm just going to do a similar thing to this piece here. I'm just going to push out slightly on the inside. Got to be careful not to heat the outside edge. I don't want to stretch that and make that any bigger. So I'm just going to heat this, cut this in my hand, and then push in from the inside. Be careful not to burn myself, I hope. Let's try that. Tape. Does that still fit? Yep. That'll go pretty nicely. Let's glue that on. And that's the 6th panel on, so that's the body complete, and it's turned out pretty well. It's round enough for my liking, so we can now move on to the next bit. That's it for this video. Make sure you check out episode 2 where I've been making BB-8's head, and be sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel for updates on future projects. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.